All right, it's 4:30 this afternoon. We've got our second budget hearings, and I will turn it over to City Administrator Tuma. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you. We're on our second budget workshop for 2027, and we I just want to reiterate that part of our approach is to tell the background stories to each one of these departments, and then the following next Wednesday, we will be providing kind of a recap of everything we've heard, and then running through that, and then reviewing that as a whole, as a comprehensive approach versus just kind of hitting them budget by budget or department by department as we're hearing. So we'll give you a summary of what the changes are, and then talk about them and discuss them next week on how we want to move forward. So with that, I know we've got some answers to some of the questions that were asked last week, so I'll turn it over to Assistant Administrator Emily, and you can take it from there.
Okay, thank you. Right, welcome back for work session number 2 on the 2027 budget.
Can you see it back there, Tim? I'm going to dim the shades a little bit. Go ahead. I
think we're okay.
It's a beautiful day.
Tim, is this the right clicker to advance the slides?
It was.
Oh.
Until 3:30.
Okay. All right, so just like last time, I'll be much more brief, but wanted to ground our conversation this afternoon in the 3 True North strategic outcomes for the next 3 years that Council set back in March. So this is the direction that Council gave staff to build the budget around. So public safety infrastructure, organizational effectiveness, and managed community growth. All right, so we wanted to make sure there were a couple questions that came out in the first work session that we wanted some time to look into and then get back to you with some accurate numbers. So we will kick off today's session by closing the loop on these items. So one of the questions was, what percentage of employees have steps remaining on the pay scale? And the answer to that is, out of our 161 employees, 55 are at the max step on our pay scale, which is step L, so that's 34%. So 106 employees still have steps remaining, and the average step increase on our pay matrix is about 2.66%. Any additional questions on that one? Okay. Next question was, what is the current fund balance? So per the 2025 audit report that was shared on August 4th, the fund balance was 46.3%. And I might kick it over to Jody to just speak to kind of the details regarding a mid-year financial report related to the fund balance.
Hi, Mayor and Council. In regards to where we ended in 2025, just to give you the detailed numbers.
Could we go a little bit more into the microphone? Thank you.
How about that? Is that better? Okay.
Thank you.
Just to show where we're ending in 2025, it's $17,941,000. And as noted in the audit that was presented that night, the city has a positive net contribution to reserves of $1.9 million. The mid-year report for 2026 that you've received in July also showed positive trends, but it did show a negative position, but that's really due to timing of receipts and payments consistent with the prior year. If you looked at the prior year, year to date, compared to where we are right now, it is tracking. So we do fully expect to meet the year-end budget targets absent any unforeseen changes that may happen. But we are tracking towards the budgeted numbers.
So our current fund balance is 46%, 46.9?
I think it was 46, yeah, 46% as noted in the
And our
audit.
policy's at 45%.
All right, next question. What percentage of the proposed 11.3 levy is the already approved salary benefit increases? And this one I'm going to lean on Jody a little bit as well. Levy is only one form of revenue that the city receives. So it's really most accurate to compare the 26 to 27 budgeted wages. And we are looking at an increase of approximately $1,181,600, about that. So a total of right around 5% from 2026.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
We have not adopted an 11.3% preliminary levy, and I've had a few people call and say, how can it be that much again? We haven't done that
Not
yet.
gotten there yet, correct.
So I know that's on there. I understand where it comes from, but so people understand that has not been talked about yet.
Correct, that will not be until September.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the budgeted versus actual year-to-date Minnesota paid leave costs? So in 2026, we budgeted $133,557 for Minnesota paid leave premiums. Actual expenses through July were $71,024.62. So we are expected to meet budget or be slightly under by the end of the year based on those projections.
Can I make another comment?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Is Kevin going to hit me?
Maybe.
The paid leave thing is kind of a gray area because the costs aren't really the costs. We end up with overtime, double time at police, fire. You can't even figure out how to add it up. So, I mean, maybe you can, but I sure couldn't.
The numbers that I shared were related to our premium costs right now. So not
Right.
necessarily the total cost of the program to the city, because as you noted, there is, we need to still produce the work or provide the service, right? So that we have to backfill those positions when people are out. So it's a whole host of factors that weigh into that, just as you noted. Yep.
And of the positions we're going to add, some of them are really directly related to the fact that when people are gone, we got to have somebody. So
Fire
there's
is
a whole nother expense that comes from that. So
Yep.
it might be approved and a good program for the people using it. It's hard for budgets.
So Emily,
Yes.
the old way of doing things prior to the paid leave, how has paid leave been an improvement over the old way of doing it?
So the city, as part of their benefit package, they had long-term disability as a benefit, which is income replacement if somebody needed to be out of work for an extended period of time. We also allowed employees to accumulate a fair amount of PTO in their banks year to year. But we did not offer an employer-paid short-term disability benefit. So for the folks that are newer to the city that maybe do need to be out for a shorter term leave, but they don't have a PTO bank to draw from, this Minnesota paid leave is a benefit to them because it is income replacement when they do need to be out of work for medical for themselves or for a family member.
When you say income replacement, it's a percentage, isn't it?
Yes, yep.
How is that percentage determined?
I'm going to lean on Rachel if she's not here yet. There she is.
There she is.
I believe it's a sliding scale based on the state. Yes.
Please.
Hello, Mayor and Council. So I don't have the exact calculation in front of me, but there is, at max, they can receive about $1,425 from whatever paid leave carrier that they choose. And then that's determined based on their weekly threshold over the past 4 quarters of what they earned. They cannot exceed that amount. Typically, what the amount comes to be is about 66% of the employees paid. But again, that amount cannot exceed that $1,400.
Is that a weekly amount?
Yes, so then they receive it as a weekly amount. And then just a reminder that this is a state mandated program, so whether we have it or whether we pay the full premiums or if we do a shared cost, the employees still receive those benefits while they're out. And then if you have any further questions, I can stand up here and help answer them too.
Thank you, Rachel.
Nate?
I'm just looking to see if there's any expectation for next year on the paid leave program. Looks like there's going to be an increase next year in the percentage.
No, so we're still waiting to hear back from our private vendor, but the state kept the premiums the same, so we're likely to see that from our vendor as well.
Okay, the expectation is that's going to go up.
The expectation was, surprisingly, it didn't.
Right. And so next year we expect to maintain paying the full share of that.
We'll take direction from council on that. Our recommendation would be to continue to pay the full premium for the duration of our settled labor agreements and then bring it forward as part of the negotiations process next time we're at the table with them.
Thank you.
And then one additional thing to add, as employees are out on leave, they receive all those payments paid by our vendor, not through us. So they're not receiving a paycheck through us unless they use any PTO. Thank you.
All right. Are we ready to move on to the next one? Why does the city have to pay election workers? So this one, in Minnesota, counties do not reimburse wages paid to election judges by cities. So it's a state statute that governs how that is handled. And the state's election statutes clearly assign payment responsibility for election judges' compensation to the municipality in which the judge serves. So those statutes are 204B.31 and 204B.32. So that is a state mandate that we pay those. Yes.
So the exception to that would be if it was a special election for a school vote. Even though the city had no races in the election last week, we still paid 100% of that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, and then our last item to close the loop on is a summary of new positions requested in 2027 budget with the cost associated with each. So what we did was we put together a table of our staffing requests that are included in these budget presentations. So we have a firefighter, full-time. FTE is an acronym for full-time equivalency. So a full-time employee is a 1.0. A 20-hour-a-week employee would be a 0.5. So that's what those numbers stand for. And then the estimated cost. Those are subject to change based on benefit elections, things like that. So it is an estimate.
Emily, will you say why a 0.3 costs more than a 0.5?
Yep, so the 0.3 positions is because we are increasing the FTE of an already part-time position. And when we increase it into that benefit eligibility threshold, we need to make sure we're taking into account the cost of those benefits. So it's more than just salary.
And that's everything, salary and benefits?
Correct, yep.
Done.
I thought we were talking about last time 3 FTs for 27. Now it's 4.1. Am I mistaken?
No, I think we have always had it in there. Actually, we had it in higher and then from the financial management plan and then reduced it down.
Okay,
Mayor,
'cause I had
Council.
last time we talked about it, there was, FTEs were 3.
Mayor and Council, we may have been talking at that point just the general fund. These are all funds.
So this is all inclusive, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the clarification, because that's what I had was FTEs for 27 were, for 27, there were going to be 3 FTEs. So some of these will be taken up by some of the economic development funds, okay? So they're not paid out of the general funds, they'll be paid out of, okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Dan?
This housing specialist, that's the same person that we authorized last year as part-time at 0.5. Now we're doing, so she's going to be, he, I'm not quite certain, will be 0.8.
1.0, I believe that.
1.0, they were budgeted at a 0.7 this year,
So that's going to,
28 hours a week.
that's going to make that a full-time position now. Okay.
That's an existing position like you noted.
Okay. All right. So we do have an updated budget process calendar to share with you. I know our approach this year, keeping these first 2 work sessions at a higher level, talking about the significant changes or asks in each department budget is different than what we've done last year. We want to make sure that we allow time for the council to review the detail behind this as well. So we have added an additional review session on August 26th, and that is where the city will provide the detail that council is used to seeing in years past with the actual numbers that lead up to these higher level revenue and expense summaries that you're seeing today. And then we will also provide additional detail and specifics regarding what got us to those changed numbers. Okay, so our first 2 work sessions, like Jenna said, we're really focusing on the why and telling our story. So then by the time you get the numbers, our hope is you'll have enough background to then know which areas you want to dig into a little bit more. Okay. In light of that, we're going to use that September 1 study session as a budget check-in, right? So you're going to get the more detailed numbers at the August 26th meeting. We'll check in on September 1, and then we will bring that proposed property tax levy to council on the September 15th agenda. That does need to be approved before the end of September. So although we have slightly adjusted to allow for some additional study sessions, we are still on track to meet that September deadline. Any questions about that? Hey.
Getting back just a second to the housing specialist, when that happened and came on board, the individual was tickled to death to find something like this part-time. Is this forcing this individual now into full-time? Does that work better for theirs? I mean, are they willing to do that?
We'll work with HR through that process with the employee in the department. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right, so I am done talking. I'm going to hand it over to Jake. Jake, would you like the clicker so you can advance your own slides?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. All right. Can everyone hear me all right? We'll go touch on fire and talk about what I am proposing for our 2027 budget. To just give you a brief overview of our fire team, we do have a chief position, and then we'd have our senior admin tech, myself, as well as 4 FEOs, 4 commanders. Then we have paid on call, and we do have a resident program. So those are paid on call that live at the fire station.
Can I just jump in for a quick moment? I should have mentioned this before you started. I apologize. Sure. But since the last session, we added the FTEs to these org charts. So then you can see the full scope and size of each department. Hopefully that's a helpful reference for you. The boxes without FTEs in them, the paid on call resident, you might see library pages. Those are not regular FTE budgeted positions. Those are on our seasonal temporary position list. So that's why there's no FTEs listed there.
Yeah, thank you for that. Actually, it definitely was helpful. As I go, we have four FEOs, 4 commanders, and then our paid on call. We've got, I want to say we're sitting around 18 or 19 right now. So yeah, sometimes it's good to have some numbers there. So our department purpose, we believe that our community thrives when there is a response and support in times of emergency. The fire department creates a better tomorrow by preserving life and property when our citizens need it most. Our 2026 achievements, though only 2 there, I can tell you they are quite large. Our mental health initiative being approved, getting our firefighters, just our staff, what we need, as well as getting that engine order approved. Some opportunities and challenges for this last year. Staffing to ensure community needs are met it's a constant thing that we are aware of, always focused on. Ongoing facility maintenance needs, as well as training and professional development. So looking at our budget for this 2026, our approved budget was $2,572,000 and $690. For 2027, it is an increase of about $400,000. Some notable changes in expenses, in addition of a full-time firefighter to bring our full-time firefighters to 9. And it's actually a firefighter position. It would not be a commander. It would not be an FEO. It is a firefighter. It's a brand new position. Increasing budget contributions to mental health as well, and as well as trying to get uniforms for our paid on call for events.
Jake, can I just add just a couple of things into there? Is I think, can you spend just a little bit more time talking about the full-time firefighter and the need? And I know it's an entry level, so people that are paid on call, can you just speak a little bit about where it fits in?
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal of adding a new actual position of firefighter was so that we can continue to have steps for growth. And bring someone in who can be a firefighter, then eventually learn how to actually drive and pump on our trucks, which is what our FEOs do. So it's just one more spot for anyone coming in to have an easier time getting into that area. And at the moment, if you are coming in here, you're either going to go FEO or commander, and this just makes it a little bit easier to give someone an opportunity.
Can I also just speak? Oh, go ahead. Dan.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to speak a bit. I've been hanging around with you guys for a little bit, so I get to know you a little bit more. But, one of the challenges that you have is you have to have a minimum to operate your operation down there. And with family medical leave or anybody's vacation and stuff, it gets more challenging to meet that. And this position would really help fill some of those gaps, because otherwise we're paying overtime.
Yeah, that is something I made a note for tonight, is that right now our overtime budget for this year was $80,000, and as of today we've spent $70,024. So that's about 87.5%. And this 9th person we are hoping is going to allow us to run more 3-person crews, giving more opportunity for people to take time off or be sick and without having to bring in someone on overtime. It's not going to get rid of overtime. That is not my promise, but it is the hope is to lower it.
I think Mr. Bokeh had a question.
Would the full-time firefighter, would he still be at the station when the trucks leave?
Yes. Yeah. This position would be a 24-hour full-time position. So this would be our very first, you would call a firefighter. So it's going to be kind of a get them started, but eventually hopefully grow that at some point. But yes, this would be part of the full-time staffing.
He'd be able to be either a commander he'll be trained to be either a commander or an operator?
Yeah, my goal is to always have like a firefighter be able to learn the skills of the next step, and that way maybe be able to fill in as like an acting FEO. And then currently we have FEO Sakura. He can fill in as a commander on dates. So it's always trying to have that backfilling ability.
Right now, those 8 full-time are not interchangeable completely?
No.
Is the pay level the same?
No.
But this new full-time guy would be, I assume, a step lower than that? But
This would be your entry.
But we would want him to be trained up to be either a fire equipment operator or a commander.
To have the opportunity to do it, absolutely.
Doug?
Jake, my question is, I mean, you guys have gotten hammered by this state program way worse than anybody I've heard about in the city. And we've been lucky that you've had so many guys willing to do so much overtime. Number one, are they going to get tired of doing that? Number two, if you calculate it all out, would you almost be better off having 2 of these new guys? It'd be almost the same amount of money if we end up in 100-some thousand for overtime this year.
The answer is yes.
I was going to say, we could do the math. I would guess yes. I would gladly take, you want to keep giving me firefighters? I will always take firefighters. And the answer is most definite. Yeah, the burnout is real. It takes a toll. We have firefighters that when you are there on overtime and you're there for 48 hours and you're not home for 48 hours, the possibility that someday now you're going to get held over again to a 72-hour shift, that is not something anybody wants.
So do we have anybody that could sit down before the next meeting and do the math on that?
I don't know that it'd ever get rid of our overtime, Doug, all the way to say, we got 80,000 in there. And the reason why is because some of them are fire equipment operators and some are commanders that may be still doing it. But we don't probably need to bring in another equipment operator if we have somebody already on there. So maybe you can explain a little bit why we would never be able to probably get 100% away from it.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever get rid of all OT, but the idea of looking at what additional staffing looks like and what that could mean, I'm sure we could do it. I'm sure we could come up with something for that.
It'd be interesting to know the number. If you could add 2 for another 20 grand or however it works out, so.
We'll look into it and come back with that.
Okay.
So I've got a follow-up to that. Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day, is that considered overtime or is that considered holiday pay?
That would be holiday pay.
That's in a separate category.
Our firefighters receive a holiday bank, and then the employees that are working on those designated holidays do get time and a half for their working hours.
So is that part of the dollar amount in overtime?
It could be.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
Let's go back to the mental health program. You already noted that we approved a mental health initiative, and now it says increasing budgeted contributions. Is that part of the 400,000?
So the breakdown on that is when you took that 400,000 and you took away what the firefighter and basically everything that goes with it, so para, insurance, workman's comp, all of that, if you take away what's tied into the actual job, it's about 65,000 is left over for the additional stuff. And in that, I have asked for 10,550 that goes into that category. With what we currently had budgeted, we were able to cover a check-in and 3 sessions for every firefighter, every person on our department. My goal was to try to increase by 1 appointment a person.
Okay, so is this meeting with a psychologist, or explain the program to me?
Sure. We've partnered with mental health agency to where mandatory we do an annual check-in, half-hour check-in. Go talk about whatever you want. I don't mind what it is. I don't ever want to know what it is, but mandatory that you talk to somebody at least once a year, and then 3 follow-up appointments if you so wish to use them per person on our department, including our admin.
It's
I don't wanna
modeled
take
after the
a lot
same
of time,
program
but-
at the PD.
Pardon?
It's modeled after the same program that's been in place at the police department.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking as well. Okay, we could talk too long on that, so thank you.
Yeah,
Move on to
absolutely.
the next one.
And then taking a look at our revenue for this upcoming year, not much of a currently predicted increase, but we have also been part of the just the overall city of potential changing fees, so that could potentially be a bit higher. And that is all I had for fire. Yes, please.
Where do revenues come from in regards to the fire department?
Absolutely. So we perform inspections, both rental inspections, commercial fire inspections, as well as like property maintenance. So there can be charges associated with if the city has to go cut grass in some way. As far as inspections go, a rental license gets a fee there, as well as reinspection fees.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Dan?
You mentioned in challenges, ongoing facility maintenance needs. Are those in your budget, or do we now have a building maintenance budget that covers all of our?
I had put some into our budget, but I do believe the city is now also looking at more of a larger budget for it.
We wanted to stay consistent with how we've done it in the past, and once we have this new facility and fleet department set up in our system, we would be moving those to that budget. So they would be managed then directly from the fleet and facility.
Correct.
One last quick question, Jenna. Fastest answer you can give. Any movement in the rural firefighter situation, or firefighting situation?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you talking about cost recovery from the county?
Or
Demi, what do you think about that? Greg, we're talking about recovering rural fire costs from the county.
Who are you asking?
Were you asking?
Rick.
Oh, Rick.
Oh, Rick.
Rick Nemi.
No.
Never mind. Never mind.
So we move on to library and recreation.
Thank you. All right, so I am pleased to be talking about our brand-new department. Going forward will be the library parks and recreation fund department. We still haven't come up with a name yet. Open to suggestions. First one we're going to talk about is the library. You can see our library set up here with myself, library and recreation director. I do have an admin tech, which we'll be talking about later, and the brand new position of library manager. This is a new position that we just filled a few weeks ago, and so this will be the person that is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the library. Below that manager, we do have 2 full-time librarians, 2.2 FTE library assistants, 3.6 FTE library specialists. The difference between those two is a little bit of job duties. The specialists can get a little more involved with programming, cataloging of books, things like that, a little more into the weeds. And then we do have our aforementioned library student pages, which are classified under seasonal temp. We usually have between 1 to 3 student pages, and they are the ones that shelve our books. So we really rely on those pages to keep the shelves full and the library looking good.
Mark, before you move on, the library manager is a new title, but not a new position.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
New title. There was an assistant library director, and this is just kind of a new to kind of correspond with the recreation department with that manager title. Our department purpose, we believe that libraries are an essential hub in any community. The library department creates a better tomorrow by providing a welcoming space, supporting the access to diverse educational resources to enhance the quality of life in our community. Our 2026 achievements are kind of headlined by that new departmental reorganization. So I will be overseeing the library recreation department and the hiring of a library manager. That's kind of the front page headline for our achievements. We're also very pleased to have our 3D printing made available to the public. We have 2 3D printers at the library, which have been getting a lot of use. People can submit plans to our makerspace. And then we will print out whatever you want within limits. It has to be legal. We did start a new book club, and this goes along with one of my opportunities at the Mineral Springs Brewery, trying to get our programming and our brand out beyond our 4 walls is one of the things I'm always talking about. The repair of our north chimney is complete, so if you want to drive by and look at some really bright, shiny copper, they did a great job of kind of matching the brick up and replacing the flashing and getting us to where we were before, even better. And then we began a new library newsletter, one page left, stands for OPL. We try to be clever. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. I think we hit on that one. Just another way of getting the word out for what we have going on at the library, new items at the library, book clubs, kind of everything in between. So we're really, really focusing on just kind of tooting our horn and letting the public know what we're doing at the library. So opportunities and challenges, one of the things we've been talking about for a long time, and we've kind of piecemealed together here and there, but we really want to start focusing on a little more strategically is our library renovation plan. This would include new circulation desks, new shelving, and new study rooms. One thing that we are always getting asked for is people looking for small meeting spaces to tutor, to collaborate, to just do Zoom meetings, all of the above. So we have our large Gainey room and we have our one smaller meeting space now, but that is not adequate to meet the needs of the public and their needs. So that's one thing we're really looking at. And one thing that we have started up and are looking to make available is our podcast studio. We kind of piecemealed a podcast studio upstairs. We had a small meeting room upstairs, and half of it's a bathroom now, and the other half is a podcast studio. So we have the equipment available, and this is one of those places that the library has the technology and the knowledge. We want to share it with the public. So if the public has an idea for a podcast, they don't know where to start, they can come to the library and we can help them. So that's one of our big opportunities that we're going to be putting forth this next year. So our library expenses, we actually went down for our expenses, and there's a little reasoning behind that. So my salary will be split up between the 2 departments, so that's a big reason for the reduction in expenses. There's also some staff savings with a assistant library director. Salary has gone down to where the library manager will be starting, so that's some savings as well. And I kept all my budget lines within a few $1,000s, so there's nothing extravagant in my library budget, except for I said no significant increases or decreases. You may have noticed in the previous slide that I am asking for it would be a 0.3 increase to my 0.7 admin tech. My admin tech is the only non-full-time admin tech in the city, and we have really found some responsibilities and duties that warrant a full-time position. She has increased responsibilities with the website. Communications is one of her big focuses. Data retention and document retention has been kind of put on her plate, as well as helping out with the public access channel. With my duties shifting a little bit, that position will be more responsible for some of the editing and uploading of the videos. So a lot of those duties add up to me asking for an increase to full-time for that position. Dan? Yes.
Again, is that position, because it's hard to find people, is that position would be willing to go to full-time?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, back in staffing requests, we've got a part-time deputy clerk, which would be basically like a tech administration.
It'd be actually working alongside Jeanette upstairs, yeah.
Right, which would be an administrative tech, right? We've got a half a time there and a third time there and a 0.7 at the library. Could we put those all together? Where you've got want to bring a 0.5 on and a 0.3 on? Could you make that one?
So some of those positions are adding to an existing position. So the library is an existing position we'd be adding to. So we wouldn't bring on an additional person.
Making that full-time, but isn't it hard to find someone to come in half-time, like with Ms. Clausen? If we would be, because we need to do something with her, for sure, because we just don't know. Because she knows so much that we should start being able to pass that on. But if we're asking for 0.8, could we make that 0.1 and bring in a full-time person and make some of it at the library and some of it?
So I'm not quite sure where to go on, but that is part of our step forward with trying to support Jeanette and understand what that operation is. So that's one attempt at trying to take a step towards that. And I believe what Mark is doing at the library is kind of what you're saying is starting one step and then getting to a step of full-time if we need it.
Right. We feel that there's enough just library-focused assistance needed there by that position that that would take that full-time position to do that.
You mentioned that we don't have any other part-time administration techs, right? The fire department has their full-time, you've got.
Every other department does have a full-time.
Okay, there's nobody in this building that's not
Not in the admin role, no.
full-time? Okay. Thank you.
Mark, I've got a question. We heard last week, 2 weeks ago, that a lot of the software was reverting back to the budget of IT. Do you have some of that as well in your
I
department?
don't believe I have any.
That's all staying
It's all
there.
staying.
Okay, thank
Yep,
you.
Yep.
Any other questions on this?
We'll just touch briefly on revenues. Revenues, we do anticipate going up. Our revenues come from county funding, from our foundation, and then from miscellaneous copies. We don't charge fines anymore, so we do anticipate a slight increase from our library foundation. I'll be asking a little bit more. Those dollars do not cover library operations. They cover things like our summer reading program, some of our databases, they help with that, and so on. So they're not into the day-to-day, they're not into the brick and mortar things. That's where the city helps out with that. Yes, Mr.
Is the
Goldke.
library still the center point for the school district and the summer meal programs?
We are not anymore. They have moved locations for that, so.
They went to the middle school, didn't they?
Yes, yep. We do miss having them. That was a lot of activity when those meals were going on. We're going to go on to the recreation side, and so this is my new guy apology. So I have been drinking from a fire hose with Mr. Anderson over there. We've been sitting through having a lot of budget meetings. He and his staff have been more than patient with me and making snide comments that I can't hear. So thank you for that. They've really kind of embraced me over there. So if we have any in-depth questions that I can't answer, Eric is here to fill in any blanks, but we're going to go ahead and get started here. You can see our setup for our recreation department, myself at the top, full-time recreation manager and 2 admin coordinators, 4 rec supervisors or 4 FTE rec supervisors, and then we have our 2.8 recreation assistants.
Is an admin coordinator in this instance the same as an admin tech in the different in the library?
It's a similar type of position. The titles changed, just varied on the type of work that they're doing. So administrative coordinators are a little bit more coordinated efforts across not just one department, but multiple. Admin techs are more of the basic entry-level standard admin duties.
So our department purpose in recreation, we believe that that recreation brings vibrance to any community. The recreation department creates a better tomorrow by supporting the division that enrich the quality of life for our community and visitors. And they, as well as the library, do live and breathe those department purposes. For our 2026 achievements, they centralized the recreation team, meaning that the whole team is all together over in Bevel Hall now. I look forward to that collaboration and having everybody, down the hall within walking distance. I think that will help immensely with things we're trying to accomplish over there. One of the big wins is the reopening of the River Springs Water Park after significant infrastructure issues and attaining record participation in numbers. I think you've seen the numbers that they had. We talked about it the last time. So kudos to Danny and her staff and all of the rec department. That is a big win for us. Our year-to-date increase in Brook Tree rounds played. I have only golfed like twice this year, so that is not me. I wish it was, but good job to Seth and his crew over there for making that the awesome golf course it is. And then another huge win is the reopening of the West Hills Pool. Oops. So some of our opportunities and challenges. One of the big things that I'm finding out is the lifeblood of summertime and seasonal staff over at recreation is such a huge thing. So working with Eric and talking about these, one of the main things is attracting and retaining those quality seasonal staff. And the other thing that we talked about a lot is that long-term viability of the West Hills Fitness Center pool. I've been sitting in on a few conversations there, so that's something that we're going to have to look at going forward is what we want to do with that pool over at the fitness center. Interdepartmental collaboration, as you know, we're starting a new department here, so not just with the library, but with other city departments as a whole. What can we do to spread the parks and recreation knowledge and expertise to other departments? This past week, we had movies at the library with the Rec on the Go trailer there as well. So little things like that mean so much to me and being ahead of that department, and it means so much to the people that are coming to those programs to have that opportunity to watch a movie and then have the awesome Rec on the Go trailer as well. And then we're also talking about expanding the River Springs opening task to in-house pressure testing, filtration lines for more efficient management systems. It's a fancy way of saying having our guys do some of that opening stuff that some of those other groups were doing, and we were running into those delays just because they were really busy. I think we've got the staff and the know-how, and with some training, we can start thinking about doing that in-house. Any questions there? We'll go on to our expenses and we'll talk a little bit about why this number is going up. So you see we're going up roughly $200,000 in expenses. Parks and Rec, I'm not glossing over that. We'll get to that. Parks and Rec administration budget is going up a little bit. Talk about that. So notable changes in expenses. So we are asking for an addition of a recreation intern and increased seasonal staff. So that's a big reason why that number is gone up. That recreation intern, and I don't know if Eric could speak more to what that recreation intern would do or what plans you have for that intern position. He's looking at me like... I don't want to bring you here without having you say something.
So our recreation intern we're looking at using for during the summer basically help offset some of the workload as well as projects that take place from each of the different divisional areas. Anything from the aquatics to our programming to other areas. It's one way that we can attract some of our seasonal staff, or actually I shouldn't say seasonal, our recreation assistant staff, because as a stepping stone you start with the intern, work your way to the season or the part-time level staff and then on the way up. So it's a good opportunity for us to give back to our student help that would then have another opportunity for them to work in full-time with us. We have a variety of different projects and different ideas, but we really haven't put a lot of paper down or a lot of writing down on paper yet until we knew this was going to be official or not for approval. So, but like I said, there's a range of things, anything from programs and projects to help offset some of the tasks we have currently going on with our other operations.
I'll have you stay up there just in case.
Yep,
thank you. Eric's the best. So we're discontinuing the Lake Colmeyer boat rental and concessions operations. Oh, yes.
Dave's got a question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mark, could we go back to the slide with opportunities and challenges, please? You mentioned on the last one, bullet point there, we spent a lot of money fixing the water park. Did I hear you say that next year we're going to have our own people kind of get a head start on it? Did we make a mistake in not having that done this year?
Yeah.
But what kind of cost did we pay for that?
I think Eric will answer.
Yeah, so historically we go through the process on startup with having a service come down and pressure test our pipes and our plumbing. We did that again this year as part of the budget that's approved by City Council. Just so happens that this time, and this is the first time that we're aware of any significant thing, that after we went through that process and had the stuff that company identified repaired, we came back around and we had additional ones that weren't found. And sometimes that happens when they do those pressure testings, because if there's too many in certain areas, there's too many in general, they're using sound, water, air, all that stuff to try to hear where the leaks may or may not be. But if certain ones are more significant than others, they might drown out some of the other ones, and a variety of different reasons. So we went through the process and we did the steps of doing the pre-season checks, but because of what we ran into this year, we're looking as a whole and as a team to find out other opportunities where we can minimize the time behind it, have our team be able to go into it after we fix repairs. We can go shortly after and test that those repairs are accurate and done right, and then see if there's anything else out there. So we're just basically trying to be more efficient and more effective at how we do those repairs in the future, because one time, hopefully that is the only time it happens, but you never know, and it's good to have that in our back pocket that we have the opportunity to do ourselves. So, but as far as the other question you had on the cost for that surface to come down, it's roughly $2,500 a time for them to do a full evaluation of our operation, just because of the size is based off of how long they're here and what they're doing. So we had them come down twice. So for that service this year, it was $5,000 for them to come down and do their full evaluation. And then our internal team did all the repairs with all the costs that came with the supplies, and our internal staff time would be the extra cost that would be on there.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Brent.
Just a question. Next, if you go one more slide. One more. That one. The increased seasonal staff, is that because we're lacking staff or because we're paying overtime for seasonal staff?
Eric.
This one here is a minimal amount. It is addition on the rec admin side. We have some seasonal staff that help support our park and rec office. So the combination of the two was enough to put on there's a significant amount, but this is about a $3,000 increase for trying to get some of the seasonal staff to help offset some of the vacations and the paid leave and all those things that if we're not having enough to cover, they will then cover like a day, half a day or a day per week to cover that time.
You said $3,000 increase?
$3,000.
Okay.
Yep.
Not much. Okay.
Yep.
Eric, I've got a question on the Lake Colmeyer boat rental. the equipment that we have, is that going to be min bid, or are we going to wait and see if requests come in to put it back out there? What's our game plan with that?
Currently is to hold on to a wait and see, partly because we use it for other programming. You know, we have kayaks that are part of that operation, or the Lake Comer operation, that we can use within our recreation program side of things. So for that purpose, I'd much rather hang on to use it and expand our size of programs rather than getting rid of it and hoping that we had more to work with.
Okay, thank you. Don.
Mark, can you go back one more slide to the expenses, but shoot. Just the park and rec admin expense, one more. Going
Oops, sorry.
right there.
I was looking at my screen.
I'm always problematic. One more. Okay, so looking at 25 actual going to 26 budget, there was a lot of savings there, and that was related to not having a park and rec director. Is that correct? So in 27, we're actually below what the actual 25 is, and that's related to the restructuring.
Yes, but remember, we started with 9 directors, we end with 9 directors, so as a budget as a whole, we're still absorbing that somewhere.
Sure, but what I'm looking at is the efficiencies that you picked up by consolidating some of these things, because if you took the 28 actual and then had rolled that forward, I mean, that would be a significant increase going into 27 had you kept the same structure.
Yes.
So that's a significant savings by reorganizing the way you laid everything out.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that people understand that, because that to me was a big number rolling forward. And I think Mark and Eric, you guys do a great job of what you do and, you know, the knowledge base you have. But, you know, to consolidate and do that effectively, I think is a great job. Thank you.
I know we got a lot of other big budgets to get to here, so I'm just going to go ahead here. Go back to the other couple quick things. We're going to be shifting the marketing and activity guide budget, and then this is kind of a wash between revenues and expenses, adjusting trip-related revenues and expenses to better align with realistic projections and historical trends. That just means kind of adjust what those trips look like based on what people want to do and how many people we are getting for those. You can see our revenue is basically the same for recreation. And our park and rec admin budget is being absorbed into other line items for revenue. So I think that will be accounted for when we go through our line by line.
So I've got a question on revenues. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our goal is to break even on adult programming.
Correct.
Are we seeing that?
In most of the areas, yep.
Okay. And how much of a deficit, and not that you know the numbers today, but for future, the deficit numbers on youth programming?
Yeah, I'd have to check back into that one.
Yes.
Because we run the same thing. We have a cost recovery model that we gauge things off of, and depending upon what type of program it is, it'll land on anywhere that between the 2 and 3 on a cost recovery, which ranges anything from 25% up to 75% of cost recovery.
Yeah, so if we can get that figure, Emily, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
All right, ready for community development? All right, here's the structure we have. I have 4 managers covering 4 different areas. Community development manager handles planning and zoning and economic development. Housing manager is all of our housing programming. Airport manager, obviously everything at the airport, and our billing official for all of our billing inspections. Whoa.
Oh. And we're done.
Hey. Time flies.
I got it.
Wow.
Any questions?
Yeah, it's like telling your mom and dad, don't push so hard on the button on the phone.
All right, let's try that again. Airport. All right, so at the airport, Dave Beavers, airport manager, really runs the whole ship out there. We have 4 facility workers, and so they're each, 0.3, and that allows us to do a lot more coverage because we're a 24/7 operation out there. And so we will have those part-time people cover some different hours and also call-ins as well when that's needed. So the airport, we view this as an economic development tool. We create a better tomorrow by providing safe, welcoming, and efficient airport facilities that enhance the quality of life and economic impact for the community. So, I think we've really tried to expand the economic development opportunities out there, really trying to accommodate businesses in the community to use the airport. We do have a number of businesses out there. We have a number of businesses that have aircraft that use the airport. They bring in a lot of vendors and other customers through the airport. So although the everyday person probably doesn't see a lot of that, that is a big part of what the airport is. It's not just private pilots flying their planes, although we do have a lot of that. We're really concentrating on the economic advantages it provides the community. 2026, doing a lot of infrastructure improvements, a lot of pavement projects. You've seen some of that already. You're going to see more of that. That's going to stretch into 2027 as well. Our main goal is the expansion of the runway, but FAA wants us to maintain what we got first before we really expand anymore. So we're really focusing on doing that. The airport zoning, which will be done later this year, is really to set that up for the runway expansion, setting up the new zoning that's needed for that. That's one of the checklist items that need to be done in order to get runway expansion. Opportunities and challenges, leveraging facility assets and initiatives to promote sustainable growth and enhance the economic impact. So we're always looking for how we can leverage the airport to grow business in the community. So we have pretty much everything's rented out there, full occupancy of most everything out there. All of our T-hanger space, we have a couple available. All of our commercial space is rented. So we are pretty much full out there, and that was not always been the case. And we've got businesses providing some key functions out at the airport. And then we've always strived for self-sufficiency. Really, what we bring in is what we spend out there. So it's not, in many communities, the airport, does cost taxpayers a good chunk of money where it's not a benefit to the general taxpayer. We really try to be self-sufficient here. Although I think there's great benefit to the taxpayers, we still strive for self-sufficiency. Really, our airport operations and everything is pretty static this year. Like I said, we're pretty much full occupancy on the rents. So we're projecting a very similar year to last year. Therefore, no notable changes on the expenses. We've got a few tweaks to do on our vehicle replacement fund to make it actually self-sufficient, or the numbers match up with revenue and expenses. So really the changes will come in future years when we get into, there's a couple things in the fact that we'll probably want something a little more sustainable for continuity out there, and having maybe another full-time person instead of 4 part-time people. That's probably something we're looking for in the future. And, obviously a runway extension will provide additional traffic out there. So a couple things we're moving towards, nothing too impactful for the 2027 budget. Any questions on airport?
Dan?
Break.
Oh, not yet. I've got a comment. We've got an $11,000 deficit at the airport projected for next year. And I would guess that that is way below the deficit at most airports, not in Minnesota, but throughout the country.
Yeah, and
That's amazing that we can come within $11,000.
Like I said, we're going to tweak the VRF numbers. We went through that. There's some changes we'll make there. So there won't be a deficit at all when the final budgets comes through. But yes, you're right. Many cities have a FBO sort of setup where they're paying somebody to run it. All the revenues go to the FBO to make it worthwhile for an FBO to do it. A lot of neighboring communities do that. We switched from that a number of years ago to capture those revenues and to pay for operational expenses. And so, I think it's quite an accomplishment to do that. A lot of it really relies on us to be fully, to have our space filled, collecting that rent. Should we have a situation where, we have a tenant that leaves, that puts us in a situation where we're going to have to cover that difference. So being full gets us to that point, and that's something we'll have to maintain and look for ways to improve upon that should we have a tenant leave for a period of time.
Dave?
Well, Troy, I was trying to remember, when were the jets painted last?
Well, we finished last year. We finished them up, so we should be good for quite a while.
10 years, 15 years?
We should be able to get 15 for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the airport, Don?
Just a comment. I think you guys do a great job of looking for grants to take care of a lot of the things that you have. Has there been a change in how they reimburse you for some of the grants? Are they requiring us to pay more, or how is that working?
Well, there's things that change all the time with these grants. One is the percentage in which state and federal will cover. So this last year and this year, federal government was covering an extra 2.5% more than they typically would for pavement projects, which is why we, flooded our plan with pavement projects. It serves two purposes. One, we get more grant dollars for it, and two, it gets us fulfilling what the FAA wants us to do in order to take that next step for expansion of the runway. But they have gotten a little bit more particular about within a project what portions of a project would be covered and would not be covered. So since like this last pavement project that we just accepted bids for, the standards today are a little bit different than the standards when they were built. And so, the location of the apron connection to the runway isn't where they would design it today under today's standards. So like they carved out that portion and said that wouldn't be covered. The number of tie downs we have for the hangars is we have like two more than they typically would require for that. So two of them didn't get covered. So they get really particular about the design, and if there's certain things that don't meet today's standards, that portion may not be covered. And so we found that there was a little bit more local share that had to be covered in some of these projects, but still overall project is still covered quite a bit by the grant.
Well, and that's what I'm looking at, because even we're paying more share, you're still breaking even with that consideration.
Well, the capital projects, we separate that out. Operationally, we're self-sufficient. The capital projects, if we added those in, then we would not be self-sufficient.
But you're still doing quite well.
Yeah.
Going through that grant program. Thank you.
Troy, before we get to building inspections, let's say we take a 5-minute break. We will come back at 5:45.
We'll both be left.
Already left.
Hey, Matt. So I ran that
Timing is everything.
Upright or?
Yeah. And see if it's something easy to use. Incorporated, it's what they've used.
Is it in the basement?
Yeah.
And where do I walk out?
So
No.
let me know if it's something easy or if you want it more
Down there
simplified.
somehow, I don't remember.
You almost did. I almost did. I like that.
No, we did it.
So,
No, you can get two on each
Oh.
handles. I must have cured it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah,
there's a
maybe.
lot of things.
Yeah, my mom had one.
Yeah.
And I moved a couple times, and I said, next time this moves, you're hiring a
Numbers
piano.
tried.
Yeah.
The bond
even playing.
didn't pull over
No one
the
did.
budgeted.
There's a piano.
Remember all those open gov
None of your
issues
kids
that we
play
have in the
piano?
budgeting module? That's the only thing in Shunswick, we've never budgeted for that, but that was adopted last year, so somebody put that in, maybe Emily or something, but it was adopted last year within the budget.
Well,
So-
that's the thing. Like, I don't remember seeing it.
Jenna,
Yeah.
Last year, and that doesn't mean it wasn't part of the overall budget. I don't remember seeing that in previous years because there was a number of them. So like whether it's an expense or revenue, interest, we've never held it. It's been
Yeah.
financial.
Somehow it was in the budget, because that's what it was adopted, but I went back a few years earlier, and it doesn't even look like you had bonds a few years earlier.
And seeing that, now I feel better because that tracks. Because like I never remember seeing it.
Yeah, but it's because there weren't any, yeah. Unless they were put into a capital project.
Well, I think there are because I think 26. I've never been able to view any of our previous bonds specifically, but that would tie to Southeast stormwater improvements that were in 2016, I believe, and if it was a 10-year or 20, like I assume it was at 10 years, and there's bond payments that I believe come out of the general fund, and
You probably just show the interest, because that's an expense. So you're not going to see the bond payment and expense, because it's really a cash transaction and liability, so you're not going to see it at the department level after that initial bond.
Sure.
So I think that's where the issue is. So I think just so the numbers tie, I would just say that I took out the bonds to,
Yeah, and we failed to
Yeah.
do it for the previous year because that's, that bill was pulling from our actual budget. We've never been reporting on that.
on the operations side, yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
And it stuck out so easily.
I was like, I know Kelly did this and painfully to make sure. And she's still working on the open gap. So I'm sitting here and I'm pulling up the GL inquiry, and the budget column's gone. It's completely gone. So I sent Kelly a message. I'm like, I'm literally in a council meeting and that column is gone. How does this happen? I don't know. So it's just not a stable system. That's the problem. I mean, we've made so much progress, though. I mean, we can get numbers from the financial side. It's just that integration to the budget. Yeah, that's the problem. So I feel good about trying to pull numbers that you guys need from the actual or the budget, because we type that out, but the other side keeps changing on us.
Speaking as a non-software engineering person, that to me that seems like a fix than not having a lot of the numbers to put from one side of the system versus.
Oh, yeah, right. But I think the first step in that, they have to admit that there's an issue.
Oh, and then he's doing it.
And
You can't fix that.
And the problem is,
Like
you
if they
guys
owned it, that's a totally different story.
And the problem is, you guys are working in the budget module. It has to function.
Well, right, and again, and this has happened in previous years. There's things that like accounts that probably existed with numbers in them.
You never saw.
Rhonda, just like you don't need to see that. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even have wages previously.
This is the first year they got to see their.
See, it should be all transparent, because you guys own the budget. Yeah.
And that's fine. But it ended up being
reported later as our budget process. Hey, these are the ones that you get to work with. And so how are we supposed to know what we've done? No.
Yeah.
Just we know there's wages.
Yeah. But it should be just
Brett.
grayed out so you can't change
Going
them,
good.
but you should be able to see them. That's how most
You're all
budget
right.
softwares work. Yeah. But anyway, I'm glad we found it. I'm glad you're confident in the number then.
Submitted today and judged today, so I haven't heard the results yet. So.
Jenna, how are you? What? I'm doing it. I'm winning it.
Yeah, that's.
You.
53.
Oh,
No, I thought you said 50. I said, so I really don't care. 3.
Want to touch? Yeah, that is a bright spot. That's cool. Did you want
Let me know.
to face? Is there anything did you want us to start working on the presentation for next week? Is handling that, or I just want to make sure we're on the same page on that.
Yeah.
John made
Oh,
an investment.
45, so we will go back to Troy with building inspections.
All right, so here's our structure, building official, we've got a admin tech, plans examiner, and building inspector, which we have a new inspector this year.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
All right, we believe strong communities depend on strong buildings, that we can live, work, and connect. Building inspection division creates a better tomorrow by ensuring buildings meet the required standards to protect the lives and safety of the public. So I would say our achievements this year was really to be more efficient. We've successfully transitioned to most residential plan reviews to be done on electronically now, rather than doing everything on paper. We invested in some of the technology to do that, and so because of our software, we're able to do a lot of that, and then the clients can all see where we are in the process here. So we expanded the use of our permit software to include all project inspections, reporting, increased consistency. So again, doing most everything electronically now. We also streamlined our department web page, making it more simpler and clearer, and making it so that, you know, we can do a lot of business over the website rather than having people have to come in all the time. So we still have people come in, but the number of people that come in has dropped quite significantly. Challenges, we got a new building inspector, so getting them up to speed on residential inspections is a goal of ours. Strengthening the skill and knowledge on the electronic plan review. For the commercial projects are a lot more complicated. So we're working on that. And then additional electronic checklists, again, getting more information out electronically so people know exactly what they need to do. Whenever we have issues, it's typically where the expectations, we didn't give great expectations on what they needed, or their perception of what they needed was different than what they actually needed to provide. So we always want to have clear expectations from the front end so there's no misunderstanding of what needs to be done there. Again, pretty level here, what we're doing. Budget numbers are from the expense side are just personnel increases. No notable changes. We're not changing anything personnel wise or anything other. We've got all the equipment and technology we need to do everything electronically, so we're not asking for anything there. We did bump up our revenue numbers a little bit just because if you track actual revenue the last number of years, we were over budget on what we were bringing in, so we just kind of beefed up our revenue numbers to match more of what we think will actually come in. Any questions on building inspections?
Dan?
On community development, it says there's 3 full-time FTEs for building inspectors, and you have 1. Are those 4 then that are interchangeable, can do the same
Well,
job?
no, we have, we have 3 full-time staff. We have a permit tech. Nikki, she does all the permitting stuff, setting up scheduling, billing, doing all of the issuing of the permits and all of that stuff. So we have a tech. We have a plans examiner. They do most all the plans examining. They also do inspections too, but mostly on the commercial side. And then our building inspector will do mostly all residential. They'll do some more simple plan review stuff, decks, roofs, windows, but they mainly do inspections. So they're out and about all the time. Even Ken, our building official, will do plan review and inspections as well. So everybody, we're pretty well cross-trained. So if there's any one person or even 2 people out for training or something like that, we can continually operate, maybe not to the volume that we typically would, but we're able to keep operations going throughout.
Thank you.
All right. Economic Development Authority. So they do have their own levy amount. We're not proposing any change on that. $240,000 is what we levy for the EDA. That is less than half of what statutorily we could actually levy, and much less than what other cities do. But I think we've got a system that works, and so we will keep going as we are. 2026 achievements, the Ascend South project was a big one. Required a lot of staff time to put that together. So to get that going was a huge achievement. The Rose Street Center was quite a collaboration of different organizations coming together to try to get more retail businesses started and operational in Owatonna. So that's a huge success. And then our EDA Forgivable Loan Program, which has been going on for 7 years now, we continued that through this year. We've been talking about it sort of nearing the end. We'll have more discussions on that on the EDA. There always seems to be projects that are looking for assistance to get some improvements made to their buildings. And so we've seen a lot of progress made to our buildings downtown. The looks are a lot better functionally. They work a lot more. So we leveraged some EDA dollars to get much more of the private dollars funneled into investing in our downtown. So that's a big win. Opportunities.
Troy, she was just saying, you kind of downplay it. So, that's a big win. Significant what happens in our downtown, and a lot of it because of your program with the forgivable loans, and same thing with the airport success. We're doing okay. Yeah, we're doing better than okay with that airport project, and I'm not embarrassed to tell that. Let our citizens know we're doing some things right here, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We definitely are, Seth. Thank you. Opportunities and challenges for the EDA. The economy is slowing a little bit, so there's going to be some challenges there to kind of get economic activity happening to the levels of we have seen, especially I'd say on the industrial side. We're seeing that slow down. I think the tariffs sort of kicked off the slowdown, and it just really hasn't picked up a whole lot since. And then we got our downtown buildings, which we know that that's a priority here to get some movement on those. We've got some new signage up. We're going to do some improvements to the buildings and hopefully draw some more attention to find the right user for those spaces. Here again, we're not proposing any changes. Although we have budget numbers, we have revenues coming from different areas as well. The one that affects the taxpayers is our EDA levy. We're not proposing that to change at all. So we have some other revenue sources. All of our tourism dollars funnel through the EDA budget. So revenue coming from lodging tax dollars will show up here. That gets funneled through our contract to the Chamber of Commerce to do our tourism program. Again, no notable changes there. Expenses are again pretty equivalent to the year before. Any questions on EDA?
Just a question. Troy, on your revenue for EDA, and actual 25 was 1.1 and it dropped down. Can you just explain that?
Well, and I'll have to go back for sure to know what that is. I don't know if Jody, if you're able to look that up here quick, but we
I'll have to get back to him.
Yeah, we'll get back to you. A lot of times we'll have other grant dollars will funnel through the EDA, so I'm guessing that's what that is. I don't have it in front of me here to tell you.
And again, I don't want to put you on the spot. I was just, like you see it kind of change and go, wow, what happened? But it's going back up, which is good. And then your salary is allocated into this too.
Yeah, I took a big pay cut between 25 and 26.
That's where it went to. And we appreciate that. Working for nothing again? Thank you.
Okay, Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Here we do have a housing manager and a part-time housing specialist. Now this is one in which I am requesting the housing specialists go from a part-time 28-hour person to a full-time person. A couple things with that is we have expanded our programming. Our Bridges voucher program, which is run through the state, we got a new grant for that, and so there's some additional vouchers we'll be doing there. It does bring in additional revenue though as well. And then the Bring It Home program is a new voucher program that will be running this year, 26 into 27. And so we'll be doing more vouchers. We do about 180 vouchers now. We'll probably be up in the 200 to 220 range when both those programs are up and going fully there. So there is additional work there with the housing specialists. Now with that comes additional revenue. And so we are proposing to make that part-time to full-time without adding any dollars to our any ask for our HRA levy to go up. So right now we're at $230,000. We're proposing to keep that flat, so there's no impact to the taxpayers to go from the part-time to full-time. We're using revenue from those two programs to cover that difference. So there would be additional work there, and so the additional staff time is needed. I also would like to see our housing specialists be full-time just to have the coverage that we need should our housing manager be out for a vacation or period of time. We got a full-time person. So for continuity of operations, having a full-time backup is really important for us to maintain the level of service that we want. So this week we combine HRA planning and zoning together. A lot of housing things go to get worked on together here, but we believe that thriving communities are always growing. The division creates a better tomorrow by cultivating economic development, diverse housing options, and workforce opportunities that lead to vibrant and healthy communities. So two things that stabilize a community, helps with our crime numbers is if people have a job and if they have a place to live. So that's where the economic development piece and the housing piece are really important to our community's sustainability. And so with HRA, that's where we have our programs for our voucher programs to help provide that stability to a number of the residents in Owatonna. And then another function of our HRA is to add more housing in the community. So we are working on a number of projects. Here's our achievements for 2026 air apartments opening up. That just opened up this month. And it's 73 units, and I think we just heard yesterday that they got 32 of them leased up here, so they're almost at 50% here, and we're not even 2 weeks in. So showing the need, for those additional units. The Bring It Home program, that's the new program I mentioned, a voucher program, big achievement there. Adding landlords that are willing to take vouchers is always a struggle. So we did a push to really promote getting more landlords at the program, and we were able to add 12 new landlords, so more options for those that are on our voucher programs. And then our housing specialist, which we added last year, is really, we've gotten her trained up to pretty much all aspects of the HRA, which again is providing that backup to Hassan, our housing manager. And that's why we're asking for to bring her to a full-time status. So we've got, not only can we handle the volume, the workload, but also having a full-time backup. Opportunities and challenges. We've talked a lot about the Partridge Avenue project. That's a big one. Is utilizing city-owned land to provide some affordable single-family units in partnership with the county and United Way. So bringing that collaboration, bringing dollars from the other organizations too to make that happen. So that's going to be a goal for us in 2027 is to get that underway. We're working a lot on paperless filing. So our files in HRA each file is huge. And so we're really working on becoming paperless, getting everything again online, streamline the process, making it easier for people to apply, not have to come into the building to do everything. And so that'll be a big push for us in 2027. And then we will have to change our software when it comes to our HUD voucher program. So we're working with that and see how that can function with our OpenGov software here. So that'll be a challenge we'll have to work on here in 2027. Revenues here, our programming for bridges and Bring It Home all funnel through HRA. So the numbers look really big. What really affects the taxpayers is our HRA levy, and that's a separate levy. It's at $230 right now. We're proposing to keep it at $230, so there's no impact to the taxpayers. And then again on the revenue side here, so we've got it pretty much balanced. We got to tweak a few things here to show that the $230 is all that we need to run the HRA operations. Is there any questions on Housing and Redevelopment Authority?
I'd have a question.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time in his office getting descriptions of all of this, and every time I leave, I know less than when I got there. It's the most complicated, crazy stuff. Nate, you're in the middle of it. I'm assuming this extra person will be somewhat of succession planning, hopefully.
Well, could be. We just need that second person. I think moving forward, we would always have two people. But there's a wealth of knowledge in that area, and that's why having a second person that knows it all is vitally important.
Troy, I've got a question on the expenses side. The budget, does that include formerly Section 8, where they live outside of Steele County, but we still pay that? I forget what that program is called now.
Well, we have our housing programs are county-wide. We have one program, our Bridges program, which is a grant that we administer, does include Waseca County and Dodge County as well. So we do vouchers in there. We collect the administration fee because we're running it, but there are grant dollars from that program that run.
That's more in and out.
It is in and out.
Okay.
So the grant, it's outside dollars coming in to serve either our community, our county, or our region. And since we started the Bridges program in Steele County, we've had a couple of neighboring counties that saw the benefit of that and have a need not nearly to the degree that we do. So they've jumped on that grant application when we did it.
Okay, thank you. Nate?
Well, yeah, and you do have port-ins and port-outs, which are pretty limited.
Yes, so another aspect of it, right, is our HUD voucher program. The voucher follows
That's what I was thinking of.
the
Yes,
top.
thank you.
Yeah, so we will have people that will move to Owatonna with a voucher that will need to be paid for by wherever they came from, and vice versa. If we have someone that we're paying a voucher for and they move somewhere else, we'll be paying that, and we'll communicate with those agencies to either get them absorbed by wherever they're living to now. So there'll be a lot of switching of clients as they move, but when they first move, it's the responsibility of where they have the voucher from that is responsible for paying that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, last area in community development is planning and zoning. Whoops. So here we have a community development manager. We have a planning specialist and then an administrative tech. They handle all of the zoning compliance, ordinance. We work with basically all new construction projects and take them through our zoning ordinance, make sure they comply. If there's zoning approvals that are needed, they run them through the process there. And then we'll also do a lot of economic development activity through our planning and zoning staff. Again, this is the same as the HRA, cultivating economic development, diverse housing options, and workforce opportunities to leave a vibrant, healthy community. I have got to really, there we go. So our zoning and subdivision ordinance, which is a big undertaking with the help of a consultant, has been kind of the big ticket item that we've been working on. Did reflect in budget numbers the last 2 years as we spread it over a 2-year period for that consultant to redo our zoning and subdivision ordinances. So big steps. You do this probably once every 20 years. Ours was longer than that, so much overdue. There's a huge public engagement process that goes with this, and although we have a consultant, our staff did a tremendous amount of work on those. The limestone situation that was handled through Greg did a lot of that, so that was a big accomplishment when that got all settled, and we got all of our new stones put in place. And then again, our Ascend South project, which was huge on the planning and zoning side as well as the economic development side, to kind of walk through all the aspects of that project and get that approved.
So why is the stone all done? Everything done?
The stone is all done. Yes. Opportunities and challenges. We still have the adoption of the new ordinance. We talked a little bit about the timing of that too. I think we were originally on a pretty aggressive schedule here to get it done in the next month or two. We might slow that down a little bit with everything that's going on. But looking towards the end of the year or early into next year of getting that adopted. We do have the sign ordinance that was also needs to be updated. That was separated out from our zoning and subdivision ordinance. So that is something we are looking to do in 2027. We stress the need for housing and trying to get more housing developments going on. We've got some incentive programs We've got a couple different developers that are moving along on projects. We got our own development project on Partridge Avenue, so we're focusing quite a bit on housing. And then a challenge, and we're experiencing now, and I don't see this changing, but the rising cost of development and construction, that doesn't seem to end, continues to be an obstacle to see more housing happen, so.
Dan?
The sign ordinance that deals with downtown signs, with signs like at Northland Farms.
Yep,
CDIs.
any sign in the community, we have a sign ordinance that regulates signs, so any sort of sign falls somewhere with our sign ordinance. Again, that hasn't been updated for a number of years, so that would be something we'd be looking at redoing that sign ordinance, looking at some of those regulations. Revenue numbers here, there's actually, or expense numbers is actually goes down, and the explanation on that is, we had consultant fees, expenses in there to do our zoning and subdivision ordinance. So now that that's being completed here in 2026, we reduced that number to reflect of what a sign ordinance revision would be. It's about $16,000 less than what we had budgeted for the subdivision and zoning ordinance. So our expenses actually went down, but we're still accomplishing what we want with redoing that sign ordinance. So revenues are pretty static. We're anticipating just a very similar sort of pattern we had here in 26 to happen in 27. And that is all I have. Is there any questions, planning and zoning, or anything else with community development?
Troy? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. We're here for Public Works, last department of our budget presentations. We'll get straight into it. This is the org structure for our Public Works Department, which we have parks maintenance, street maintenance, wastewater, engineering, and then a couple of admin coordinators. Working into engineering. So we have our assistant city engineer, 2 engineering specialists, as it sits here, two engineering techs. Technically, we have 1 right now, with 1 being vacant, and looking to fill that role with a civil engineer. We have 1 engineering intern throughout the summer, and a stormwater specialist, all within the engineering department. Our department's purpose, we believe that thriving communities depend on the quality of their streets and utilities. The engineering department creates a better tomorrow by designing and maintaining safe and lasting critical infrastructure. And some of our achievements throughout 2026 incorporated the streets portion of our pavement management plan into OpenGov asset management system. So what that looks like is, as we have organized our priority projects, whether that be a seal coat, in-house mill and overlay, or a street reconstruction, we have that incorporated into our asset management system. So it's anybody that has access to that system. So if, whether it's collections has a question on, hey, we've got some sanitary main that looks in need of repair, they can easily look into our pavement management plan through their native environment cartograph, or now OpenGov asset management, and be able to see live time when is that street going to be reconstructed, or what's the next pavement management type that's recommended for it. Continued our development of the pavement management plan, or the PMP, by incorporating sidewalks, trails, parking lots, and alleys into the system. We're still working through a lot of the budget components and what that ends up looking like in terms of recommendations. And then also created some standard operating procedures for many in-house processes, such as our standard detail plates and some CAD standards as an example. Some opportunities and challenges is to fully integrate our pavement management plan into our financial management plan. This would be including all pavement infrastructures, our streets, our parking lots, our alleys, our trails, our sidewalks, no matter where they may lie, whether that's in a park system or off-site system or facility, not necessarily being at City Hall. Another opportunity that we can look into that we're looking into is finalizing an investment strategy to help with the year-to-year planning and determining the level of funding for each of these pavement types. Also looking at continuing to develop our comprehensive plan for all our infrastructure types beyond pavement. We have traffic signals we have to maintain, retaining walls that we own and are required to replace, bridges, utilities, just as some examples. And then also one of the challenges is just being understaffed. For the past number of years, we haven't had a full team within our engineering department with open positions and key positions, and our assistant city engineer, as well as just having a vacant opening right now. It's hard to keep up with the day-to-day and also be out on construction projects and continue our department's goal of big picture master planning for what our future holds. Yes.
On the original ask on the number 2 slide or whatever, it asked one of the positions to fill was an engineering tech. And on here, you've got engineering tech 2. You're looking to add another one. Is that the same one? And you said you were down 1. Do we have currently 2 engineer tech 2s here now?
We do not. We only have 1. And the other position is vacant, and we're looking to fulfill that with a civil engineer. And then what our request is adding another engineering tech. So whether it would be a tech 2, tech 3, or an engineering specialist, depending on their qualifications. You kind of beat me to it because that's our next opportunity if this works. So here's an outlay of our expenses in engineering with some minor increases that are attributed to staff wages, and also the request for additional engineering tech. So that's programmed out at roughly $116,000. But through our enterprise funds, our engineering staff, as well as our streets department, supports those enterprise funds in many different ways. And we have not evaluated our allotment in terms of time that we spend servicing our stormwater utility fund or our sanitary fund. So this year we went through and reallocated what we feel is a more representative cost that the general fund takes on for helping manage those enterprise funds. And so that allotted to about a $73,000 decrease from the general fund. So looking at that change, it's roughly I went too far. Sorry about that. Roughly a $43,000 increase with that position request.
Sean, if you could go back one page, please, one slide.
Yep.
So in 2025, our actual is just a little over $1 million. 2 years later, we're at almost $2 million. That's a lot of money in 2 years. What were the big changes in this 2-year swing?
Yep. So the two ones that jump out are we did not have an assistant city engineer in 2025, as well as we had a number of costs in our streets department, like our in-house mill and overlay, as well as our seal coat. Our streets department, although they do the work on our mill and overlay, we really do the design and engineering and oversee the contract administration for it. So in 26, we moved a large portion of the account for mill and overlays from the streets department into engineering, as well as that seal coat project.
So it's not a new expense. It went from this pool to this pool.
Correct. And it's exacerbated by not having a full engineering department either.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then some other notable changes in expenses. It's about a 3% increase in our overlay and seal coat projects. That totals about $21,000. Revenues for engineering. It looks like a significant increase, but I'll kind of get into the details on that. The one change here is contribution from our enterprise funds. Our sanitary sewer fund relies heavily on existing administration to operate their fund. So that utilizes council. So part of council's budget is attributed into their expenses, whether it's IT, HR, administration as in city administration. All of those fees are calculated out and paid back into the general fund for their use of the general fund, as well as receiving contributed services from OPU. So every year we recalculate based on everybody's proposed budgets that make up administration, as well as looking back at our past history for OPU billings. So that's that portion. The construction engineering, that one's a little bit more unique. So in past practice, we've only documented our revenues in terms of street construction. So we've historically paid ourselves out of bond proceeds to design and CA, so construction administrate. So that includes staking, construction observation, and then the financing portion in terms of pay applications, those types of things. We've only historically documented in budget revenues the street portion, but we've accounted for what our enterprise funds pay in. So if we have a street reconstruction project that replaces stormwater or storm sewer or sanitary sewer, that also is a revenue to the general fund. And historically, we've only done street portion. We think it's appropriate to paint that accurate picture because we are transacting that at the end of every year for storm sewer and sanitary. So those are the major changes within engineering revenues.
Done.
Sean, this is kind of an interesting question I was asked. Is there any way for the residents to see kind of like the paving plan? I know you had mentioned it in OpenGov, you put it in there, but to Nate's favorite question about, someone being assessed and having to go, gee, you have to pay this, and having the visibility of saying, geez, this is going to happen in 2 or 3 years, is that at all feasible?
Certainly feasible. What the difficult part is not knowing what council will commit to in terms of budgeted dollars for projects. Sure. So, as of right now, we're incorporating probably a quarter to a third of what we would recommend for a 50-year pavement life. Mm-hmm. And so not knowing what that looks like, we would be potentially sending out letters or documenting things that saying it would be maybe a 28 project and it wouldn't get fulfilled until maybe 31 if we continue or if we reduce our costs or expenses that we're going to contribute or keep with the engineering budget.
Sure. And I was just thinking of your plan. You've got your 25-year plan of where you're going to go, just to have that visibility might help some people think about it. And again, I realize it's a plan. It changes. Mm-hmm. Things happen, but that's some of the questions I've been asked. Well, geez, how do I know when something's going to come about? So.
Yeah, and we would love to get there. I think what we do struggle with is not knowing what that budgeted amount. If there was a funding plan similar maybe to what Steele County or any other county in the state has, like some sales tax or wheelage tax, something that's a little more defined that can fund it, makes it easier to commit to those projects. But when it's going out for bonding on a yearly basis, it's hard to commit to those.
Absolutely, but I, when you guys put together that 25-year plan, I was very impressed. You went through and looked at it, and I think the public would be interested in seeing, what you're thinking. And again, just a thought and a comment.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, next is stormwater. That is within our engineering budget. So some of our 2026, or engineering department, it's its own fund, so apologize. 2026 achievements, we've integrated a new stormwater specialist. Morgan's been doing a great job, very eager, very sociable, has made some good rapport with a lot of our contractors to date. So she's doing a fantastic job, so glad to have her on board. We've developed a routine and preventative maintenance schedule for all city-owned underground stormwater BMPs. So that would be typically called like a chamber system, something that's underground that filters out sediment and phosphorus and other constituents that come with stormwater from streets. We revise our grading permit checklists and resources to help simplify the development process. And we've successfully closed out many long outstanding permits. And so the importance of closing out our long outstanding permits, it means that we're getting projects constructed as they're supposed to be designed or as they are designed to the city's requirements and providing all the necessary closeout documentation like as-builts. Some opportunities and challenges. We're going to be looking towards updating our stormwater ordinance to make sure that it reflects the upcoming issuance of our MPCA or of the MPCA's MS4 general permit. Supposed to be updated and issued as of, I think, November of 25, and we still do not have a finalized draft of what that permit is. So we'll wait for that into the future. Finalizing a surface water management framework, another opportunity implementation of pond maintenance schedules, and then education and enforcement of our permit closeout requirements.
Sean?
Yeah.
When you mentioned that reports were supposed to be done in 2025, I think you said, are we subject to any fines or anything from the state that these reports go to, I assume?
No. So this is a permit that's issued by the MPCA. So it's our MS4 permit, and it's the same permit for any MS4 community within the state. The permit expired November 1st of 25, and they still haven't issued a new one. So they just continue on with the administration of rules under the old permit until it can be approved. And then they usually, depending on if there's maybe some significant changes, they'll give a grace period. So the last time this happened, I don't know if it was quite as long of a delay, but in 21, when it expired, we were given until, I want to say, end of 22 to implement all of the changes in the new permit.
Thank you.
Yep. So getting into the expenses for stormwater. An item to note here, we modified our 2027 expenses to align with, past operating budget presentations, excluding bond expenses. And we failed to update the 2026 budget here for that same line item. So to make sure we're comparing apples to apples, what's shown here in 26 includes bond expenses, which we historically haven't presented in an operating budget. So the actual budget without those bond expenses is $169,229. So that's about a $122,000 increase from 26 to 27. Some notable changes, just increasing costs or expenses to repair and maintenance. with a new hire in our collection staff and our streets department willing and able to do some simple pipe replacements, if it's a culvert, something to that effect, we wanted to bump that up a little bit. And then transfer to other funds is just a minor change in GIS and street cleaning contributions from our stormwater utility fund. Yes.
Sean, I was asked this question a couple of weeks ago, of course, after a heavy rain. Stormwater, being able to clear that out, expedite it in a better way down in the post office area. Is this something that we're going to have to put a lot of money aside for many years? I mean, this is going to be in the millions of dollars to be able to do that. That's my assumption. Do we need to start squirreling away money for this? We're not getting enough money in our stormwater fund to cover something like that, whatever the ultimate decision is?
Correct, and you're kind of beating me to it. Council approved 10.4% increase year over year for 5 years in our stormwater utility fund. So those rates that are getting passed on to ratepayers. 27 will be the third year of that, and that'll take us through 2029. So yes, we are trying to build up those revenues to start aligning revenues with the projected expenses we have with our stormwater needs. And with that specific question, that's a tough project because that is a quote-unquote trunk line that goes underneath the Mineral Springs Railroad Bridge. So that would more than likely be done as potentially a bridge replacement project. Unfortunately, that's owned by the railroad, and they have no intention of replacing that ever. So if we do something, that would take on, or that would be the city taking on owning a railroad bridge, which in past practice hasn't been very common, but it's becoming increasingly more common to open up. You know, many different communities have different needs, and to be honest, actually, Steele County is working on the bridge overpass on School/Main Street/CR 180. In owning a bridge, as you know, just from the bridge bonding funds that are available from the state, the cost of the project, if they own it, works out better for the taxpayers in general, and replaces a needed bridge that, you know, I think it overtops the road in a 2.5 or 4 year stormwater event or storm event.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Can I tell a story about that?
Nope. Okay.
That catch basin by the library flooded annually. It didn't only take a 100-year rain, but even a 3 or 4 inch downfall. The late Sergeant Jeff Okerberg was working one evening, and the water was already up over the catch basin, over the sidewalk of the post office, and approaching the library. He went into the post office and asked them if they had a rake, because all the debris was going to the catch basin. They didn't know where it was. They couldn't see it anymore. And the answer he got was, what do we need a rake for? And he said, well, all you got to do is rake that debris out of there. It'll drain it. And they said, it's not in our job description. So he went home, got a rake, went down there, pulled the debris out of there, and he drained that flooded area. Just a simple, common sense approach. Thanks, Okie.
All right, and so for stormwater, here's our revenues, fairly consistent with 2026. There's some slight reductions from revenue earnings that are attributed to interest. So as I mentioned, we do have a stormwater utility fee increase of 10.4%. that was approved by council 2 years ago. Any questions on stormwater? Right. Now moving on to wastewater. Within our wastewater treatment facility, we have a manager and assistant manager with 3 plant operators. We have a collection foreman and 3 collection operators, and then equipment maintenance foreman along with an equipment maintenance tech. Our wastewater treatment facility's purpose, we believe that what you don't see often matters a lot to the health and well-being of a community. The wastewater treatment facility creates a better tomorrow by maintaining reliable facilities and infrastructure to serve the community and protect the environment. Some of our achievements: successfully cleaned 20% of the sanitary sewer system, our annual goal. I think at last check, we have about 15% left, with a lot of months left before snow flies, so we're projecting that we're going to get that completed. We replaced 3 lift station control panels. We're currently going through an update of our Chapter 50 and 51, so our wastewater and wastewater pretreatment ordinances. And then we finalized the completion of our wastewater treatment facility expansion project, which included connecting the city of Medford. So opportunities and challenges, it's investing in our critical infrastructure, opportunity to reline or line hopefully a good amount of our sanitary mains and sewer replacements. We're working through asset management implementation to improve our preventative maintenance, asset tracking, work order management, and long-term capital planning. And then the forever challenge of maintaining regulatory compliance, meeting MPCA's and EPA's regulatory requirements while still protecting public health and the environment. We have modest increases in our wastewater expenses, mostly attributed to wage increases that have already been agreed upon. Some of the bigger and notable changes in expenses are SIPS project, which would be identifying $500,000 for SIP lining, and that transfer to general fund that we talked about in revenues for engineering. So those are some of our most notable. Yes.
So last year we cut the SIPs due to cutting the levy. So now it's on for next year. Any idea where we're at for costs with that? Have they kind of stayed the same? Are we going to get the same value as if we would have kept that in the levy last year?
Well, one, I just want to correct you that had nothing to do with the levy. This is an enterprise fund, so it comes out of the enterprise.
That came out of enterprise. Yep. Okay.
And we went to an every other year approach just because at $250,000 it tends to be a little bit smaller project, and maybe we just hit a blip in a bad bidding year. But we had some very high prices previously at unit prices at a $250,000 projected project. We received more bids and better bids when we did a $500,000 estimated project. And so it's hard because a lot of the resins are oil based. So with the fluctuating markets with oil, it makes it difficult. I know bidders, contractors, they're trying to find ways to alleviate some of that. They buy a lot of their product, years in advance or guaranteed prices, regardless of some of those fluctuations. But to answer your question, I do think that I think we'll still get reasonable pricing, contingent to or aligning with probably inflationary costs.
And what percentage do we have lined so far?
That's a number I'm going to have to get back to you on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Sean, would you explain what that program is for somebody that might not know? There's no cameras here today, but not everybody knows what that stands for.
Yeah, cured in place piping. So we have, 175 miles, I can't remember, of sanitary sewer main throughout the entire city. Some is of a newer material like PVC that has very good water tightness. We have a lot of old sanitary main that's clay, so not very well watertight. And there's also some issues with that material type, just with trying to make connections for services. Typically, you have to hammer them in. You break the pipe in order to do it, and then you just pour a bunch of concrete around it. Whereas you can have a preformed Y fitting with PVC. So maybe we've replaced the roadway in recent years, and lining that sanitary sewer is a much better use of resources than completely reconstructing that roadway just to replace the sewer. So you're allowed, or you're not allowed, you can replace and build a whole new pipe within that clay material that's already there. Basically put in a big bag, it has resin on the inside of it, heat it, and creates a PVC-like product on the inside of that clay pipe.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
John, does the MPCA, do they have grant opportunities for this?
For lining? It's a good question.
Because this should be right up their alley.
What's that?
This whole SIPs, that should be,
yeah,
it's better for the environment. My assumption is it makes too much sense for the MPCA to be involved.
It's a good question. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. I don't feel like they do, and if they do, it's for a very specific community. Maybe it would be. I think I've seen grant opportunities for some of the communities impacted by the DuPont or 3M PFAS issues.
Okay.
That's more so for water systems, but I feel like I've seen them there. No, unfortunately, for a lot of projects that are currently going through facility plans, some communities are getting denied increases to their wastewater treatment plant capacity until they solve I&I, which these SIPS projects do a really good job of eliminating that. Unfortunately for us, we're just doing mains, not necessarily the services, so there's another component to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And so revenues for wastewater, you're going to see a significant increase there. This includes a 8% projected increase in sewer rates, so roughly about $500,000 a year. And then interest on the funds that we do have was a significant increase from what we had projected previously. And then we also have a sale of capital assets at $190,000. That's what we're estimating we will get for our vac truck that is to be replaced in 2027.
Done.
You know it's coming, Sean. Our natural gas that's coming out, is OPU going to buy that at some point in time?
Yes. Yep. We're still going through that process. I haven't had an update in about 2 weeks, but we're getting pretty darn close to being able to send our biogas to OPU. But it's not significant amounts. It's not in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's going to be something. It'll all help.
I just didn't, see it being burned off, when drive by and it just,
Yep, sometimes sometimes we bypass that during the certification process too.
sure.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
John, we have about 17 minutes left, so let's see how you can do.
Well, really quick, you got it.
Not too quick, but.
So streets, so.
One other question.
Yep.
Has the Medford connection, has that worked well for both parties involved, Medford and Owatonna?
I mean, I think so. I haven't heard any issues from Medford. I mean, it's a brand new system, brand new lift station, and they have for a community with that age of a wastewater treatment facility, they've done a pretty good job of updating their collection system, so they don't have a lot of issues there. But I think no news is good news.
Thank you.
All right, on to streets. It's comprised of our maintenance manager, equipment maintenance foreman, 4 tech specialists, street maintenance foreman, senior maintenance, or 2 senior maintenance worker leads, and 9 senior maintenance workers. Department's purpose, we believe that our streets are vital connections in our community. The streets department creates a better tomorrow by building and maintaining safe and lasting roads and equipment. Some of our 2026 achievements, we've implemented additional pond maintenance, adding projects where we have the equipment and the time to do it. Continued cross-division and department collaboration on maintenance activities. That's both internal and external partners. We're projected to remove about 100 dead trees from the city in 2026, and obviously focusing on ash trees.
Sean?
Yep.
How many people does it take to remove a tree by policy? 3, 4?
By policy, I don't know if I have the answer to that question off the top of my head, but safety-wise, there would be, ideally it would be 3. So someone that's up in the bucket, one that's a spotter, and a backup. So I don't believe we ever send out for more than, for trimming without 3.
But you need the bodies to do it.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's equipment, very expensive equipment that can do it with less.
Okay. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Some opportunities and challenges. So opportunity is cross-training with our park maintenance staff. We have in the past, but being under one umbrella in Public Works, I think we have even more opportunity to do that. Some of the challenges is rising costs of equipment and maintaining a reliable fleet, and the competing demands of all maintenance needs with resource shortfall, whether that be funding or staff or both. I think one of the items we discussed at the previous budget meeting is, tree trimming, tree removal, and trying to allocate resources to that effort to help remove all of our dead ash trees. So we have our maintenance managers, both in parks and streets, working on a plan to maybe develop a more skilled, a more tree-skilled focus group that can maintain all trees within the city, regardless of where it is, whether it's a park, a trail, right-of-way, a facility, so we can have the right people in the right roles and not cross-train as much across departments if we can do so. We think there's some efficiencies that can be had. Expenses for streets, again, very minimal change here. A lot of it is tied to the wages that have already been agreed to, that roughly 5%. The most notable change that we can find is a significant increase in our snow hauling contracts. Our rates have typically been low, and we still get responders. This past season, we for our first snow event, we had we had 0 trucks respond, which obviously puts a significant delay in how quickly we can remove all of our snow downtown. So we had to make the decision to raise those rates in hopes of retaining some of those local contractors to haul for us. Revenues in streets, again, minor changes, nothing really notable in what those are. Any questions on streets?
All right. Getting a lot of pavement done this summer.
We're trying. I think today was our last day, last day of our mill and overlay project, just right around City Hall here, so yeah. On to parks maintenance. Our parks maintenance consists of our maintenance manager, 3 maintenance workers, 8 laborers, 1 foreman, and 2 senior maintenance worker leads. Might have gone too far. So our department's purpose, we believe a great community needs great spaces and places to connect and enjoy. The park maintenance department creates a better tomorrow by maintaining safe and accessible parks and trails to enhance the quality of life in our community. Some of our 2026 achievements, we implemented and improved OpenGov asset management, work order management, and documentation. We completed all of our approved capital improvement projects, and we promoted and enhanced culture through citywide initiatives and team collaboration. Some of the challenges we have are keeping outdated park resources and infrastructure safe without a viable funding plan for replacement. Tree management, we have a number of dead trees throughout our park system, and as I mentioned before, we're working on a plan to try to dedicate resources to address that at a quicker pace than we have before. And then also some opportunities to work on some drainage projects within Brook Tree Golf Course. The expenses for park maintenance, some minor changes. Again, a lot of that is attributed to our wage increases that have already been approved by council. Revenues in park maintenance, the significant change you see from 2025 actual to the 26 budget and 27 budget is that was a design change to move all revenue sources into the recreation division and out of parks maintenance.
I was going to say, in 2025, did you have toll roads?
Yeah, just to get into parks, park passes, right? No. So that was a change there. And that is it from Public Works. I think I did it with 8 minutes to spare.
Any questions for Sean? Brent?
Nothing.
Nate?
No, sir.
Dave?
Nothing more.
Doug? Dan?
Nothing.
Don? I'm good. Mr. Mayor?
No, sir.
So with that, thank you. Again, our goal was to give you the background. Next, we'll come forward with a summary of all of this, all these adjustments, to come back before you to have good discussion on what should we move forward with in 2027, and then what does that look like?
Just one question for Jody. We talked about our reserves, and I believe you said that was we're at 46% of budget. That was basically 17.9 million. Does that include all the stormwater funds? Is that separate?
Yes, Mayor and Council, that was just referring to the general fund.
This is unencumbered funds, the 17.9 million. Thank you.
With that, we'll also bring forward a list of the 1.9 million of some one-time fund where we would use that, reappropriate that money to different funds. Again, I think Troy has spoken to this, is dilapidated building fund that we use to buy properties when they come available. We've talked about building maintenance funds. We've talked about the reserve fund. We've talked about grant matching, small grant matching that's there. So if we come across a grant, we have some money to use. And we've also talked about VRF and how to keep pushing some money towards that. And I think I'm missing one area. We're also talking about having just technology for police and fire, right? That gets really expensive. That we're trying to start kind of a smaller fund for that. So we have a replacement fund. So we have more of an annual amount than seeing our levy go up. So anyways, we'll come forward with that list as a proposed recommendation list too, of where we would recommend using that money for as a one-time money.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think questions, we had maybe one or two that we need to follow up for next week. If you guys come up with additional ones, send them off to me or to Emily, and we'll get those noted so we can make sure we can get those answered for you. And we're always open to any feedback with this new format too. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.